right, here we are, the Nashville News Podcast. We are doing it virtually this week because sometimes you got to do it virtually. Quickly introduce yourself. If someone's new to listening, who are you?
Miss
Levi, do you
Bailey.
want to go first? Oh, me? Okay. Hi. My name is Bailey. I am a freelance content creator and sort of everyman. They pay me to do all kinds of things, and I'm a musician. How do I explain what I do now? Yeah, that's me.
A bunch of jobs.
Yeah, but mostly I'm really good at short form video, and it's always been my dream to be on a podcast.
Oh, well, look at this.
Did you know that?
I'm learning new things. Okay.
Yeah.
I've known you how long, and now I'm just learning new things about you. Interesting. My name is Levi Ismail, and I'm an investigative reporter for the CBS affiliate News Channel 5 here in Nashville. And I'm also a host, I would say a host for the Nashville News podcast, TikTok, everything in between.
I'm also on the Nashville News podcast. I forgot to mention that.
Is that what this is? Is this, we're getting so meta with it. So I think actually that's a funny but good segue of like.
No, you're not getting off the hook. Go ahead.
Oh, for me too. Right. Hi, my name's James Webb. I'm a space telescope. I'm a digital marketer, really a digital producer is probably more the right answer. But yeah, I love this space. I like that we're all joining forces in different ways. We're doing this podcast again because I think, Levi, you and I had some momentum in doing this in a very interesting way. It was just like we set up our phones, right? And we just talked about what was happening in Nashville, and people were like, that's really cool. That's like a fun way to get information, which is like just what a podcast is. You have audio, you talk, it's a podcast. Yeah, I'm excited that we're like actually doing it, and it's like an official thing. However official we want to make it, you know? Thoughts?
No.
What do you mean no?
I have to say,
give me your perspective.
James, we've been wanting to do this for some time now, and yeah, it can be as simple as putting up a phone at a restaurant, and then sometimes it could be this, and we're just talking over phones. I could probably throw something over the ledge and hit you with it.
Right.
Tell me I'm wrong.
We're in the same space.
What do y'all want to talk about?
What have you been working on this week? Honestly, like, what have you been working on this week? That's the question, you know?
you're the news guy. Like,
I'm the news guy?
Are you not?
Guy. Wild. Anyway, obviously, last time around we talked about the special session and what's happening. By the time that people see this, it would probably be done. It's something every single moment, and people are watching from all over the world to see how Tennessee is going to react to what happened with the Covenant School shooting. And right now it seems like we have 3 bills, and the only one that discusses gun safety is a bill about offering funding for gun locks. So a lot of very frustrated parents out there who are saying we've done nothing.
Dang. So what's next?
A lot of these bills are going to probably roll into the next session, and they will have more time to talk about them and figure out, is this something we want to carry on? This fly is going to be the death of me right now.
I know, I see it.
You see it.
Uh-huh.
There's been infighting between Republicans, in the House and the Senate. There's been, conversations about where's the governor in all of this, and he's the one who called for the special session. The guy who said that we need to do something about what happened was nowhere to be found.
It's frustrating how difficult it is to like do anything. It's like no needle was moved here, right? It's like, I mean,
it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like we moved the needle at all, because a lot of the same people that, the governor and many of these Republican lawmakers were trying to, make happy, like the parents, they were trying to make them happy. Well, these are now the same parents who are screaming fascist from the top of the gallery because they feel like they feel like very few people are listening to them. And the people who have all the power to make the decisions happen well, they're not doing what these parents want.
I'm trying to sort of reconcile something in my own mind. And I would just kind of be curious for like to hear your opinion about it. You know, they silenced Justin Jones again, a member of the Tennessee Three, and a little bit of a controversial figure to some. Time and time again, they are attempting to silence him and other members. I had known him from the sit-in protests at the Capitol, but he's kind of exploded into this nationwide revolutionary figure. And I would think if I was the Tennessee Republicans that I wouldn't want to keep fueling his message. Do they just assume all the people yelling fascist, we have more people on our side than the people that are yelling? Like, I don't know. I just can't reconcile, like, why do you keep poking this bear?
Well, you have to remember, we're talking about a supermajority here. Tennessee Republican lawmakers can do practically whatever they want in the House and in the Senate, because they don't have to really answer to anybody. When they hear all of these things being said by Justin Jones and by Justin Pearson and by some of the Democrats in the House and Senate, it can get on your nerves hearing people call you fascist as you're walking into the building. But do those folks have any control over the bills that you pass? Not really. You can do what you want, as much as they hate being called all of these different names. They must appreciate knowing that they're in a position of power to where, those are just words. They don't really have to answer to any of those people, or, the Justins of the world. They don't have to answer to them.
So the whole system doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, the system is
not to bust open that can of worms.
The system works for, certain people.
I think of the phrase, it's a feature, not a bug. The people that designed the system love that it works that way.
We've seen so many young people come to the Capitol to express their frustrations over the lack of gun control. People were like, does this mean that we're going to see a lot of young voters coming out to vote these people out of office and, insert their own values? And I think what we're forgetting is that these lawmakers represent their own constituents in their own cities, right? And so if you're living in Nashville and you are fired up about wanting change to happen, that guy is still going to get elected because you don't live there, unless you can find a way to motivate young people in that person's, district to get up and vote. As far as getting other people involved, it's going to take a lot more work than just the protests that we've seen here with people from Nashville. If they want change, they have to find a way to get other people across the state involved. And it is hard, but I know James is interested in running for office at some point here. He's talked about it quite a bit.
I don't know about that, man.
I don't know if
either
I can
that
back
or
you yet. I need to assess your platform.
You want to create some sort of puppet regime. I know that we've talked about that too. You want to put someone in office and then just pull the strings.
You have said this to me. I didn't necessarily say
I'm not making
regime,
this up.
But no.
That sounds so evil.
So
first
you.
off.
That's so you, James.
It's so you. Here, you know what, James? I will. Well, let me not go on record and say that.
No, I would love to at some point, I want to understand the political system. Not now, maybe in the next 10 years I work on it, but I would like to understand the political system in a way that I can be cool, let's get someone in local office. Let's rally around a person to make some real change. Seeing what's happening in the Capitol and then here in Nashville, it does give me hope to be all right, enough people want to see change that I think there's enough force behind some change happening in a variety of ways.
I would be interested to if if there are people who are taking part in these protests, who's traveling to Nashville to make their voice heard? Because those are the people who can make some crazy change when they go back to their cities.
Mm-hmm.
They take some of these ideas and these values back to their, those cities, and they say, hey, by the way, guys, we don't all have to vote for the same person every single time. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a crazy concept. We don't have to vote for the same guy who we've been frustrated with every single time. Like, we don't have to vote for the guy who always makes headline news because he's in, doing something that people see as shady. Like, we can vote for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want change, then don't be afraid, to vote based on your values as opposed to the political structure that you've always known. Because, I mean, you look at the makeup of the people who were protesting, the last couple of weeks here, last week and some change. They're not the same people who were here in the beginning of the spring. These are parents.
Mm-hmm.
These are mothers. So it's funny. I don't see that many young people out here right now. Granted, there's school, but it's still like I don't see that many people.
I think also in defense of the young people are so tired. I think the young people feel so powerless. And I think as a young person myself, sometimes I worry that the only solution is to just wait for them to die and just like hope that like which I know sounds bad, and I'm not saying I'm like, I'm not going on record saying I'm going to kill somebody. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, and James is going to edit that. It's like I'm going on record too.
Yeah.
Young people are at our wits' end sometimes.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Especially because those young people who were protesting over the summer, it's likely that their parents were not backing them until
what I think is funny about this is because I wonder, will that actually make a difference? Because people were saying the same things in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 60s. Maybe we just wait these people out until they die. And then there's going to be some real change. You have to think about your own biases and where you come from, how you were raised. A lot of these same, lawmakers, I mean, they're raising their kids based on their values, right?
Yes, not everyone has my values. I am obviously in a circle of people that share my values. That's how I decide to be in my circle.
I'm wondering if because, I think we're just more exposed to this now than ever before. There were, like Diane Nash, she was a revolutionary here in Nashville. She led a protest up to the Capitol steps where there were hundreds of people willing to ask, wanting to get an answer from the mayor at the time and asking him, like, do you think it's wrong to segregate lunch counters here in Nashville? And he said, yeah. And, there were a lot of people there. Was there Sky 5 video to show just the massive crowd? Was there, people on TikTok walking around saying, look at what just happened. This is a revolution. No, there wasn't any of that. Did it still happen? Yes. We've seen this before. We just haven't seen it like this before. I wonder if this could be a turning point, but I also caution people when they say that is like, a lot of these same people who are now controlling things, they lived through the 60s. They lived through the 70s. They saw protests.
I don't view wait for these guys to die as the solution. I think that sometimes, you just get hit with this feeling of what else am I supposed to do, but hope we can, sort of wipe the slate clean. But I mean, you're right, which is, and, I think examining your own biases is increasingly difficult in this sort of social media age as well, because I don't follow people who have drastically opposing viewpoints to me. I'll try to like get in the mind of like, okay, so I'm a racist person. Like, how do I like, okay, so, and I can't subscribe to that level of cognitive dissonance, not to like pat my, oh, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't,
Totally.
it just
Yeah.
has never made any sense to me. My sort of default is like, well, that doesn't make any sense to anybody, you know?
This is an
And
interesting topic here. This is something you deal with on a regular basis of how do I get an opposing viewpoint, or how do I get thoughts that are not like my own, if I have a certain group of friends, core group of friends, and the content that I consume more often than not just perpetuates a lot of the stuff that I already know or believe. And I'm going to ask James to weigh in on that first. What do you think, James?
It is actually very hard to do that now, especially with technology in the mix. Like, we have algorithms that are feeding us what we like and what we want to see. And if we don't like it, we can press a button and say, no, thank you, no more. It's very easy. It's way more difficult to actively seek opposing viewpoints unless like someone gets some type of high off of that, right? Like, unless someone's like actively like, I love this. I think what is required from that is people actually telling both sides of the story. I think it has to be something that is ingrained into the teachings of kids from young. Like, it's something bigger than just. It has to be taught. Like, if you have an opinion on something, type into Google the opposite opinion of that, and read some articles or watch some videos, and like get mad doing it and get frustrated and be like, "This is what is this? This is ridiculous." But I think by doing that, it does just, your mind goes there in the day-to-day conversations.
I'm not even at the point of, hey, I listened to what you have to say. Now let me convince you of why I'm right. This
Yeah, right.
is, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? This
Yep.
is, all right, am I even going to bother to listen to it at all? What do you think, Bailey?
I think that I have more questions.
Okay.
I don't want to hear about people who think things that I think are just blatantly wrong. You know what I mean? Like, that's upsetting. And that doesn't mean that I don't need to do hard work in terms of seeking out that information. I think when we have discussions like this, I immediately think of these big topics: racism, gun violence, women's right to choose what to do with their bodies. Like, I think of these sort of big issues, and I don't want to teach my kids that they should listen to the side that says everybody might look a little different, but we're all, unique and special, and you should respect everybody. And then also tell them to listen to the side that says, like, if you're not white, you're less of a person, or like you shouldn't have the same rights. Like, I don't want to give those people views, clicks. Oh, am I frozen to you guys? Okay, no. I want to make it very clear that
We were just intently listening to you, and so it looked like we were frozen.
I want to make it very clear that I'm not advocating for never leaving your echo chamber. I just think that this is we should teach people to listen to opposing views. And it's like, okay, well, one view is I think I should be able to do whatever I want with my body. And the other view is I think that I should control what you do with your single only body. And, I'm sure that somebody's going to listen to this and be like, she's wrong. I mean, people are going to listen to this and think all kinds of things. I guess I just wonder, like, how do you parse that out?
Here's what I'll say is, before I was under the impression that I believe that people should go out of their way to seek some of this stuff out at first. That's what I believed at first. I don't believe that anymore. What James said was very poignant about, we have to learn this stuff. We have to teach this stuff. We have to teach people that you're not the only voice, you're not the only opinion in the room. Everyone has an opinion. They may be different from yours. That doesn't make it any less valuable or any less important, just because you don't believe what they believe. I had to learn that as a journalist. They can't be my opinions, just brought out. Like, these are other people's thoughts, other people's opinions, and I'm sharing them obviously through my lens as a storyteller. And I'm not going to be naive and think that, I'm just completely unbiased and objective all the time. Like, of course, my bias seeps into my reporting, just like anybody's bias seeps into their storytelling. But I've learned how to, minimize my own perspective as much as possible so that it's not about me. I don't want to teach my children someday that they have to listen, that they, have to go find the opposing viewpoint for everything. What you do need to do is remember that you are not the only one. You are not the only person whose opinion matters. Once you understand that, then you can have conversations. That's what I want. I want people to have conversations.
I mean, meeting people halfway. Totally. Yeah.
I think a lot of my dad, and my dad and I having political discussions over the dinner table that have exhausted my mother and brother to the point of being like, I'm not hungry anymore, bye. But I know that my dad has an underlying level of respect for me. And, that he would go, you're out of your mind. But, tell me why. I think one, from a reporting standpoint, I love when you tell me what the other side is doing, because I believe that you're telling me the truth about both sides. I don't know of a lot of sources where I can get the truth from both sides. I can get exactly what the Republicans want me to hear, and I can get exactly what the Democrats want me to hear, but I don't know if either of those things are the truth. It goes back to, I don't want to make myself angry. I don't want to engage with people who are committed to misunderstanding me. Not that I think that you're advocating that I need to go and fight everyone about everything that I believe. I think, not to take everything that you say and be like, but what if it was more complicated? But I just think it's more complicated.
I'd love whatever you want to say about this, Levi, but I'd love your thoughts on inside of the industry. Like, what is the current state like?
There's a lot of pressure right now because people are turning to social media to find so-and-so citizen journalist who's going to meetings or going to the Capitol and everything. And this person is getting a lot of attention, a lot of followers, and, leveraging that into a successful brand, right? But as journalists, we have to look at the entire spectrum of what the conversation is that day, what the issue is that day. We have to find a way to help people understand all the, as many arguments for the one issue as possible. So the reason I said there's pressure is because a lot of journalists are, in my opinion, I think a lot of journalists are realizing, like, you don't have to be in this industry to get the, I don't want to use the word clout, but I'll use it, to get the clout that you want. You can do it,
and I think to
on
get
your
the
own.
respect.
And to get the respect and all this admiration, you can do it on your own and just use your own thoughts, use your own opinions. And it just, they kind of blur the lines between opinion and fact. Well, if that's the route you want to go to, that's fine. You can do that, but that's not journalism. Right now, we're seeing some people trying to figure out if that's what they want, if they want to stay in this industry or if they want to do the other thing. And meanwhile, while that's happening, it's kind of seeping into their reporting. It's already kind of happening, whether it's on air or social media. They're speaking in a narrative that reflects their own values and beliefs as opposed to what the story is and leaving it objective for people to make their own opinions about it. It's like, no. They're talking as if they were having a conversation like we are, and they're just laying out their opinions under the umbrella of a news station. And then at some point they're going to say, forget the news station. Looks like I can just do this on my own and have all this flexibility to just speak my mind and say all of these different things. Well, are you still a journalist at that point? Or a blogger? or influencer. Like there are some stations that will embrace it and say, "Yeah, let's do an entire show just around your ideas and your opinions." And there are others that are like, "I'm sorry, that's not what we're looking for here. You can do that at TMZ."
The contrast of directions that the industry and the people inside of it are moving towards is very interesting. Damn, guys, this was great.
We blew by that
yeah,
time. Bailey, if you want to just let's do it, Bailey.
Scale of 1 to 10, how much do you guys like ABBA?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, great.
I'll say 10.
Okay, I have so much good news for you this weekend. Friday, Gimme Gimme Disco at Brooklyn Bowl. Big dance party event featuring quite a bit of ABBA music. And then if you don't party too late, Saturday, 11 a.m., City Winery, traveling ABBA tribute group, the Neon Queen, performing a brunch show. Then Saturday night, we have Into the Spider-Verse live in concert at TPAC. They're doing a live score similar to what they do with the Screamer Horn. But it's, all the sort of, it's a hip hop score to match the music that is in the film. Sunday, there is a 21 and up pool party at W Nashville in the Gulch with a Caribbean cookout. Caribbean or Caribbean? I always say Caribbean, but then Pirates of the Caribbean.
Caribbean.
Just Caribbean the whole time. Got it.
Yeah.
Then Sunday, if you want to go back to City Winery, they have a Queen tribute group that whose lead singer has been dubbed the reincarnated Freddie Mercury. So if you're really into music that my parents like, you've got your Saturday and your Sunday plans. Shakespeare in the Park is also, and that I like. Don't give me that face.
Okay, you definitely just said parents that or music that my parents
I'm saying
like.
I grew up
Those were your
on
words.
I grew up on Queen. I grew up on the Mamma Mia soundtrack and the Run soundtrack, and Pink's first album and Destiny's Child. But anyway, Shakespeare in the Park is back. Go and double check a date before you go. But almost every Thursday through Sunday of September, they are doing Shakespeare in the Park. It's Shakespeare. It's in the park. It's right by Avo, a really good vegan place. And not a ton happening Monday, but my friends are in a band called Felix Tandem, and they have a show at the East Room. If you want to make that 4-day weekend full of live music, you can get live music Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
It is a 4-day weekend, isn't it?
It's a 4-day weekend, yeah. But did somebody schedule me for a meeting on Monday? Yes, Labor Day, James.
Oh,
I will still be
Yeah. James, did you really schedule her for a meeting on Monday?
No, it was not James. It was not James.
Okay.
It was somebody else.
No,
Got it.
I'm going to be in New York, and I from Thursday to Monday, and I had no idea that it was actually a holiday, so I don't have to worry about people.
What do you mean you don't have to? James, you are going to be in the thick of it. That is holiday travel, my friend.
Yeah, were you thinking to yourself, why is this flight home a gajillion dollars?
No, it wasn't a lot.
Okay. I
It
don't
was only
believe
half a
you, but all
gajillion
right.
dollars.
I got the ticket forever ago, so
I have meetings from 10 to 11, or no, 10 to 12 on Monday. Rude. But also, if you're the person that scheduled that meeting and you are listening to this, it's okay. I don't mind. He's not listening.
Oh my gosh.
That's what editing is for, guys.
No, we're not taking anything out.
Right?
We'll do it live.
First draft is final draft.
No, that was great. Very cool. Thanks for listening, everyone. Any final words from Bailey, Levi?
If you live in Nashville, early voting has already begun for the mayoral race. And so if you haven't already taken part in early voting, now's the time. Otherwise, the election is early September. And you know what? Doesn't matter who you vote for, as long as you make your voice heard.
I
That's what I
will.
got.
I will echo Levi. I will say that voting is super cool and sexy and cute, and everybody's doing it, and you should totally do it. And it's literally so slay. And also, because I haven't yet come up with a good quippy intro for myself. I forgot to mention my name is spelled Bailey, and my last name is Smith. If you want to look me up and see the things I'm doing on the internet, after you vote, please, I beg of you.
Go vote.
Cool.